Yes, yes, yes. What is happening? Monday morning, 05:30, ready to go. This is show 375. Today, we're going to be talking about going through the same old routines and systems and standards that are not providing you with the life that you want to live. Have you ever got into your car and looked at your car and gone, my God, this is disgusting. Look at the wrappers everywhere, look at the food everywhere, look at the dust building on the dash, on the steering wheel, on a gear stick. And you kind of think, right, I've got to sort this car out. It's filthy. So what you end up doing is spending a Sunday afternoon going, oh man, I'm going to nail this car. So you get in there with the polish it all up, you clear it all out, you hoover out the floor, and then the next time that you get in that car, you're like, man, it feels good to drive in here, right? And then 4 weeks later, you're straight back to the way it was. And that's what we do as humans. And we're going to talk about how we get out of that. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Borman. And if you are coming through, then please do hit that love heart button. And please do let me know in the comments if you recognise that scenario of the car where you're going in and cleaning a car and then 4 weeks later it's straight back to the way it was. So before we get started, if you're not already training with us, we have a couple of places available to join us. Our doors are opening, right? So you can either join us for 3 months or 6 months. So the 3 months is by doing the Elite 90 program over our 12 weeks of modules and training and live training, being in our community. Or you can do 6 months where you do the Elite 90 and then you follow it up with 3 months of embedment as a member of our Elite Brotherhood. Both are going to completely and utterly change your life. All of the details are on the link up above. Go and check it out, get your application form in, and let's get to work. So that scenario, right, of realizing that your car is a tip and then cleaning it, right, for it only to be messy 4 weeks later. If we simply polished it and give it a clear out if we give it a clear out every couple of days, we wouldn't get to that state in the first place, right? It's like an accumulation of or a build-up of mess over a period of time. If we every single Sunday spent 5-10 minutes cleaning, just give it a quick polish, dust down, we wouldn't have to do that big sorting yourself out. And since I've been coaching, what I recognise in men is that they decide to get super motivated, super driven, super on it for a very particular period of time where they go, right, I'm going to sort out my eating, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to start getting up, I'm going to start journaling, start doing my personal accountability. And then a couple of things creep in. And it's the same couple of things right throughout, whether it's your car, whether it's when you were a kid and you were tidying your room, whether it's your house, whether it's your body, whether it's your life. There are a couple of things that stop us doing that. And by the way that you kind of look at your car or look at the state of your house is really a direct reflective of probably how you consider yourself. So if your car is constantly messy, it's more than likely that your life is going to be that way. Okay, there's not usually one way of doing something one way and one doing another. How you do anything is how you do everything. Okay. And there's a couple of things that stop us from being consistent. Number one is standards. Like, for guys that are inconsistent, there is a distinct lack of standards. Now, let me flip it around here. If you were to turn around and say to your kids, tidy up your room, get the bathroom sorted out, like make sure that you're doing your homework, like blah, blah, blah. You are always holding those guys accountable. And we're turning around and trying to educate these kids to turn around and say, kids, it's really important to make sure that you had standards. Your standards are just not high enough. And yet, us as humans and fathers and parents are not upholding standards ourselves because you're not even doing it yourself. So then you become that hypocrite. So you have to have a level of standard, a non-negotiable elite standard that says I don't allow my car to become a mess. I don't allow my house to become a mess. I don't allow my morning routine to dip. I don't allow my personal accountability to slip. I don't allow my health to slip. Because the minute that standard slips, the minute you go below that standard, that line, the minute you're below it, that's the minute that you start suffering. Not just you suffering, everybody else around you suffers. And then you feel ashamed, and then you feel embarrassed, and then you feel frustrated. All those same emotions as if you were to give somebody a lift and they got in a car and went, look at the state of this. And then you just start feeling embarrassed about yourself because you've let yourself down because you haven't done your morning routines or you haven't done your journaling, and then you slip straight back to where you were. And these are hard truths that, like, people don't want to hear. Oh, you're quite negative, it's not very positive. It's truth, right? If you want positive, you should go to a life coach. It's going to tell you everything's going to be alright, because it's not going to be alright. If the minute your standard drops is the minute that all of the action that goes along or aligned with those standards that you set yourself stop. So you stop taking care of yourself. You stop taking care of everything else. You stop taking care of your relationships. And then what? Does your wife leave you? So that's the first one, standards. The second one is complacency, when you think you've made it. I can tell you now that you will never make it. You'll never make it to being like fully content and happy for the rest of your life. You don't get there and then just stay there. The hard work starts when you get to a point, because maintaining it is much harder than building it. Maintaining a standard, maintaining a lifestyle, maintaining change is much harder than getting there. Because you have to work hard, you have to be consistent, you have to want it, you have to remember why you want it, you have to understand why you want it, you've got to be on it. You know what I mean? And what happens is that people forget that. Why do I need this? Oh, I've made it. I've made it, I've lost 2 stone, guys. You know, I'm getting up every single morning. I've been doing that for the last 3 months. Now I'm just going to take it, you know, I'm going to take my foot off the gas. And then the minute 1 or 2 days goes and you just start dipping like this, it's like a rock falling from the top of a mountain. It picks up speed, it picks up momentum, it picks up power. And then this weakens. And then you go back to doing all the same things that you used to do, being the old person that you thought you killed. You have to kill that other version of you. The reflection in the mirror of the person he used to be, you have to kill that guy so he doesn't exist. And the way that you do that is by showing up every single day doing what you said you were going to do. So we've got low standards, we've got complacency, and the other one is usually distraction. Distraction is usually when we are focusing on, and 9 times out of 10 it's usually your work. Okay? You seem to be enthralled within your work. You seem to want to think about work all the time. We seem to want it to stress us out. We want it to consume all of our time and our energy and our focus. And I'm not sitting here saying don't work. I'm not sitting here saying I don't get passionate about work. But there has to be barriers, guys. There has to be a line of where you go, where this is where I start work and this is where I finish work. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you build up yourself to be rock solid, iron bolt, iron armour on your head so that you're in great control. And at the end, we unwind with transition routines, which is how you change your mentality coming out of work, going into a personal space. These are things that you learn, right? These are the things that we educate men in our programs. This is the type of stuff that you have to be able to implement. Otherwise, your brain is going to be like, oh, reports, oh, emails, oh, pressure, oh, stress, oh, this, oh, that. And you then create a lifestyle that really doesn't involve anyone else. And then your wife's begging you to pay attention to her, and then your kids are begging them to have some time with you, and you're just too busy. Or you're in the room, but you're not present. And again, we then start taking our foot off the gas, and we use the old excuse, work's been manic. It's rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. And people are like, oh, it's easy for you to say. Like, don't be so naive. Like, honestly. If you want to live, like, and this is it, this is not for everyone. And this is what I mean. This is why we say this is only for ambitious blokes. People will be set and stuck in their ways. They will be stuck in their ways. They will be stuck. That's the only way they feel they can live their lives. They don't see any alternative. They become quite negative and bitter about it. And everyone that is trying to work on themselves, you only have to look at some of my ads and my posts, and people are like jibing, because that's the self-reflection of the life that they're living. If you want to have a happier life, if you want to be more content, if you want to feel like you're achieving, if you want to lead yourself, if you want great relationships, man, you have to have a standard. You cannot be complacent. You have to be willing to make sure that you show up all the time. It's not something that you're just dipping into. It's a lifestyle. It's a rewiring. It's a movement. It's an evolution. It's an evolution. You're moving forwards. You never stop. It never stops till you stop breathing, man. And you have to stop being distracted, which means that you have to understand what your priorities are in life. You could get in your car today and someone can smash into the back of you, into the side of you, and you could be severely disabled. You could have brain damage. You could be told that you're going to be ill. Your life could change in a flick, in a click, just like that. And then that's it. That is then it. And a lot of lads are thinking that there's an abundance of time, that nothing's going to happen, that something's going to come along soon. Some knight in white shining armour is going to come along and pick them up and save the day. It's on you. It's all on you. And it might sound strong, but this is like, we're talking about your life here. We're talking about your marriage. We're talking about your relationship with your kids. We're talking about your mental well-being. We're talking about your mental health. Like, I can only do so much, right? I can only do so much with the programs, helping you through the programs, with the free content that we do. But at some point, you guys have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to kind of look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm below the standard, or I'm not showing up, I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, I'm getting distracted. Same old, same old. Look at the title of this live. Happy Monday!